Connect multiple devices simultaneously. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber. Connect multiple devices simultaneously. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
රෝස සුවඳ තවත් දෙකෝ කලක් රැඳෙන්න ඩබල් පර්ෆියුම් ලුක් සමගින් එන නව සන්ලයිට් රෝස්.
Tonight, hope for the new year. With December tourist arrivals showing a major increase, authorities say WTO tourism data offers some relief.
We expect that 2022 arrivals would be in the range of 1 million or 1,100,000.
Upping the ante, the central bank's latest dollar rules for licensed banks draw flack. Wasting away, the UN Food and Agriculture Organization adds Sri Lanka to the red list. Don't give up. 19-year-old pilot touches down in Sri Lanka during record attempt with an inspiring message for young women.
One thing I've learned on this trip is that you are capable of more than you think you are. You're able to push yourself outside of your comfort zone safely and slowly try and learn more, and you'll see and you'll prove to yourself that actually you can do things you didn't think you'd be able to do.
All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Tuesday, the 28th of December, 2021.
ඉකුරු කරද මුංගු තුල්සි සහ කුරුඳු වලේ අහකුණෙන් ලාවුචි ginger plus.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammik Ekman. Now, the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority and the World Trade Organization project 1 million to 1.1 million tourists to arrive in Sri Lanka during the year 2022, with an average of 80,000 expected monthly. In the month of December, the SLTDA has observed a spike in tourist arrivals, with nearly 70,000 entering the country up to the 26th of December.
Sri Lanka is currently one of the most sought-after holiday destinations in the world. Throughout this year, the aim of the tourism authorities was to slowly but surely prepare the groundwork for the return of tourists. The border closure during the period between March 2020 and January 2021 dragged down the number of tourist arrivals in the country to 507,311 for the year 2020. That number accounts for over a 1.4 million drop compared to arrival numbers in 2019, a year in which a drop was seen following the Easter Sunday terror attacks. Although the airports were open for tourists in January this year, the number of arrivals remained low, as a lot of countries were still not ready to open their borders for their citizens to travel abroad. The Sri Lankan authorities since then have taken measures to relax inbound travel restrictions and make it easier for tourists to enter the country, with measures such as green lighting, fully vaccinated tourists, and revising its PCR test requirements. Further, even previously strict quarantine measures too were relaxed, allowing travellers just a single day in quarantine. However, the rise in COVID-19 cases following the Sinhala and Tamil New Year struck another blow to the country's plans that saw tourist traffic slow down once again. However, since July, the tourism sector has seen a steady uptick in recorded arrivals. In July, the number was a very much improved 2,429 tourist arrivals. In August, it doubled to 5,040, and in September, a welcome 13,547. The number of arrivals for the month of November, meanwhile, was 44,294. Since then, up to the month of November, Sri Lanka saw 104,989 arrivals. However, according to Tourist Board figures, up to the 26th of December has surpassed all previous figures, recording a massive hike. According to the authority, nearly 70,000 tourists have arrived within the period so far.
As far as tourist arrivals are concerned, December has been our best month so far. We have had 69,900 tourists up to 26th, which is almost like 70,000. They are from countries like India, United Kingdom, Germany, Russia and Ukraine. From January to December 26th, we have had 174,930 tourist arrivals, and they are also from India, UK, Germany, Russia and France.
Meanwhile, with only 3 days remaining for the year to end and a new and hopefully more easy year ahead, The Tourism Development Authority says that they expect this number to increase further and open the door to some semblance of recovery.
We are very optimistic that after the COVID pandemic, now the tourism is picking up gradually, and we expect similar numbers in 2022 January as well. Our target is somewhere around 80,000 per month during this pandemic, and according to our projections in line with UNWTO projections, we expect that 2022 arrivals would be in the range of 1 million or 1,100,000. So we can safely say that we will be able to contribute to the national economy in a better way during the next year.
නියම ක්වලිටියට හැදෙන අලුත් ටියාරා රස පදමට අලුත් වෙලා.
The central bank's revision of operating instructions to licensed banks on mandatory US dollar conversions has drawn some flack after the previous 10% was increased to 25% yesterday. This means that with immediate effect, all banks are expected to sell 25% of their US dollars received through remittances, export proceeds, and even dollars converted by the general public to the central bank on a weekly basis. However, opposition MP Dr. Harsha De Silva says that the new rule will now add more pressure on the already precarious net foreign asset position of licensed banks.
Yesterday, the country's Importers Association issued an urgent appeal to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, calling for immediate assistance to help them clear up over 1,000 containers full of essential food items stuck in the port of Colombo. With an estimated $110 million needed by importers every month to clear their goods, right now the government or the central bank are unable to do anything about the issue at present. With the central bank banking on an inflow of around $1.5 billion before the end of the month from China, the message to the importers right now is to bear it up until this happens. Yesterday, Trade Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena too offered an assurance that the issue will be sorted out by the new year. With that, the central bank issued a revision of its operating instructions for commercial banks on mandatory dollar conversions yesterday, increasing the previous 10% requirement to 25%. According to the new rule, licensed banks are required to sell 25% of any inward remittances converted to rupees and mandatory residual export proceed conversions until further notice. Further, foreign currency held by the general public converted into Sri Lankan rupees until the 31st of December 2021 too will fall under these guidelines. The new rule that came into immediate effect as of yesterday has already drawn some criticism on social media. Samagi Janbalawege parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva took to social media to critique the move and warned that it could aggravate an already precarious net foreign asset situation of licensed banks. Meanwhile, Bangladesh's central bank has announced an extension of its $200 million credit line to Sri Lanka by a further 3 months after the first 3-month tenure of the loan expired this month. According to a Bangladeshi news outlet, the renewal comes in response to requests from their Sri Lankan counterparts. Currently, Sri Lanka's interest payment for the Bangladeshi loan stands at 2% plus the London Interbank offered rate, but if the second 3-month tenure expires, it will automatically rise to 2.5% plus the LIBOR. In the meantime, the central bank has also issued a warning to expat workers with regards to remittances, warning them of falling foul of the country's anti-money laundering and countering financing of terrorism laws. A notice posted on the central bank's official Twitter page by its financial intelligence unit put migrant workers on notice for using unofficial remittance avenues, warning them that they could fall prey to criminal networks and end up losing their hard-earned money or face legal action for being party to a criminal act. However, it's bound to be a very hard choice for Sri Lanka's workers overseas, with the current black market rate of between 245 to 250 rupees, an easy choice compared to the 202 rupees and 99 cents the central bank has it pegged at. And with inflation and the cost of living on the up as well, that 45 rupees makes a world of a difference.
United National Party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe, meanwhile, has issued a recorded request to the government on his solutions to tide the country over during its forex crisis in the next few months. The former Premier called on the government to head to the International Monetary Fund as part of its duty to the people and to finalise credit lines for food and fuel, while warning of a food crisis by the next Sinhala and Tamil New Year.
ඩොලර් හිඟය දරුණු තත්වයකට පත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ බර ජනතාවට උහුලන්න බැරි තත්වයකට අපි ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. මේවට වහාම විසඳුම් උවමනයි. COVID-19 වසංගතයේ තිබුණත් රටවල් ගණනාවක් 2021 අවුරුද්දේ ආර්ථික ප්‍රගතියක් පෙන්වලා තියෙනවා. අපිත් මේ ප්‍රශ්න විසඳන්න ඕනේ. ඒ නිසා ආණ්ඩුවේ යුතුයකමක් තියෙනවා. ජාත්‍යන්තර මූල්‍ය අරමුදලට වහාම ගිහින් ආධාර ලබා ගන්න. නැත්නම් ඊට පිළිගත විකල්පයක් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. අද මේ රටේ ජනතාව කෝපයෙන් සිටින්නේ. මීට අමතරව දැන් තවත් ප්‍රශ්නයකට අපිට මුහුණ දෙන්න සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි මේ රටේ ඇතිවෙන්න යන ආහාර හිඟය. එන හැම ආරංචියක් අනුවම ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම සිංහල අවුරුදු කාලෙ වෙන විට රටේ ආහාර හිඟයක් ඇති වෙනවා. මේම තත්වයක් ඇති වුණොත් අපිට මුහුණ දෙන්න තියෙන දේශපාලන පසුබිම ගැන හිතන්න. කෝප වුණ ජනතාව අතර පිපිරීමක් ඇති වෙයි. ඒ පිපිරීම ආණ්ඩුවටත් අපේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවටත් දෙකටම බලපානවා. දැනට ආණ්ඩුව ඉන්දියාව එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරනවා ණයට තෙල් ගන්න, ණයට ආහාර ගන්න. ඒ සාකච්ඡා වහාම අවසන් කරන්න. ඒ වගේම ඉන්දියාව සමග ඇතුල් වෙන්න තියෙන ගිවිසුම් ඒ වගේම අවසන් කරන්න. මේ ආහාර ලබා ගන්න. ණය ගැනීමෙන්වත් ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම බඩු භාණ්ඩය ණයට ගැනීමෙන්වත් මේ රටේ විදේශ විනිමය තත්ත්වය විසඳෙන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් తాවකාලික සහනයක් ගන්නට හරි මේ ණයට ආහාර ගන්න, ණයට තෙල් ගන්න වැඩසටහන ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න කියලා මම ආණ්ඩුවට දැනුම් දෙනවා.
In the meantime, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa alleges that the controversial usage of the Mattala International Airport for paddy storage was ordered by former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to politically destroy him. While addressing residents of Lunugamwehera, Premadasa also accused the members of the government of enjoying themselves on the back of the harsh sacrifices made by the people.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa met with residents of Lunugamwehera today on the problems faced by them on a daily basis. Further, a campaign of distributing leaflets among the residents in the area was also worked off during the day.
එයාපෝට් එක කවුරු හැදුවා ජනතාවගේ සල්ලි වලින් හදලා තියෙන්නේ රනිල් මහත්තයා කරා වගේ ඊපාර වගේ මේ ඒක වේලෙන්න අරින්න එපා මේක දියුණු කරලා ගන්න සාරි
මම කවදාවත් එයාපෝට් එකේ ගිහිල්ලා වී ගබඩා කරන්නේ නැහැ ඒක රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා කරේ මාව විනාශ කරන්න මේ සම්පත රටට ප්‍රතිලාභ ලැබෙන ආකාරයට සංචාරක කර්මාන්තයේ දියුණු කර රස්සා බිහි කරන වන්තොටුපළක් බවට පත් කරනවා ආණ්ඩුවේ සමහරු කියනවා එක වේලක් අඩු කරලා කණ්ඩ තව ටික කාලයක් යනකොට ආණ්ඩුවේ අය කියයි කන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්නේ කියලා මම පැහැදිලිව කියන්නට ඕන රටේ ජනතාව මේ ආණ්ඩුව ආපු දවසේ ඉඳලම කරේ කැපකිරීම. උපරිම වශයෙන් කැපකිරීම කරා. හැබැයි ජනතාව කැප කරනකොට ආණ්ඩුව සැප ගන්නවා. ඒක තමයි සිද්ධ වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ. මේ ආණ්ඩුව ආපු දවසේ ඉඳලා තමන් වටා හිටපු මංකොල්ලකාරයෝ ටික, දූෂිතයෝ ටික, හොරු ටික, වංචාකාරයෝ ටික, කොමිස්කාරයෝ ටික ඔක්කොම සැපගත්තා. දැන් ආණ්ඩුවේ සමීපතයින්ට ඕනතරම් සැප තියෙනවා. රටේ ජනතාවට ඇපත් නැහැ.
A young woman of just 19 years of age is currently attempting the feat of circumnavigating the world in an ultralight aircraft, and she's here in the island. We'll bring you that story in detail right after this short break.
Big 3.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Zara Rutherford, a 19-year-old woman pilot, landed in Sri Lanka today as part of her record-breaking attempt to become the youngest person to circumnavigate the world in an ultra-light aircraft. Sri Lanka is her 40th stop in her 52-destination record attempt. Speaking to media after landing, Rutherford said that she hopes to inspire more young women to pursue aviation studies and STEM education across the world, while also urging young Sri Lankan women to never give up on their dreams.
19-year-old Belgian-British pilot Zara Rutherford was welcomed at the Colombo International Airport today, her 40th stop on a 52-country trip. Rutherford is currently in the midst of a bid to break the record of becoming the youngest woman to fly solo around the world. She is also attempting to become the first woman to circumnavigate the world in a microlight aircraft and the first Belgian to circumnavigate the world solo in a single-engine aircraft. If she succeeds, she will not only break the record but will also reduce the gender gap by 12 years, as the current youngest male record holder, Travis Ludlow, was 18 when he completed his solo flight in July 2021. Speaking to the media today, Rutherford explained what her motivation was in attempting this record and added a message for young Sri Lankan women.
For me, it's something I'd always thought about as a child, but I never thought it'd be possible. Flying around the world is dangerous, it's expensive, it's difficult, it takes a lot of time, so I never thought that I'd actually be able to do it, so it kind of remained a thought, kind of a dream, but never materialized. And then I was finishing school, and I figured actually now is the best time to do something kind of crazy and fly around the world. And that's exactly what happened. So I started working towards getting sponsorship, getting a route sorted, and then at the same time, as media interest grew, I thought I could actually help kind of support a message, which was that I'm hoping to get more girls and women into aviation and STEM, so that's science, technology, engineering and mathematics. One thing I've learned on this trip is that, and I think this applies to everyone, that you are capable of more than you think you are. So going on this trip, looking back, there's some things that I would have said I can't do that, but then I actually did end up doing those. So if you're able to push yourself outside of your comfort zone safely and slowly try and learn more, and then you'll see and you'll prove to yourself that actually you can do things you didn't think you'd be able to do, and then learn more, do more, and it's pretty fun.
The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in its latest report has identified Sri Lanka and India as having the highest child wasting levels in South Asia. With provincial disparities identified in nutritional levels, the Zara province reportedly shows the highest prevalence of low weight with 39% and child wasting with 21%. The Western province, however, has the highest level of better nutrition in the country due to better health facilities in terms of both quality and quantity.
Sri Lanka has been ranked alongside India for having the highest level of child wasting in Southern Asia. This was revealed in the UN Food and Agriculture Organization's latest regional overview for Asia and Pacific on food and nutrition. Child wasting is when a child is too thin for his or her height and is a result of recent rapid weight loss or the failure to gain weight. According to the report, Sri Lanka and India have a very high prevalence, 15% or above, of child wasting based on the criteria set by the World Health Organization. It stated that the nutritional status of preschool children showed significant interprovincial differences, with those in the Western province said to have the best nutritional levels. The prevalence of stunting, wasting and low weight are the lowest in the Western province compared to other provinces. The report said that this was due to the province being the most urbanized and as a result having better health facilities in both quality and quantity. Meanwhile, the Central province has been identified as having the highest prevalence of stunting with 33%. The highest prevalence of low weight of 39% and child wasting of 21% were observed in the Zara province. However, the report's data was not limited to child wasting. It also noted that Sri Lanka's adult population was highly affected by low nutrition. The FAO cited this fact by pointing out to the high prevalence of chronic energy deficiency, identified to be prevalent in more than 37% of men and 33% of women. Meanwhile, the Food and Agriculture Organization has also diagnosed almost 19% of the island's population to be iodine deficient. Further, about 45% of preschool children, 58% of children 5 to 11 years old, 36% of adolescents, and 45% of non-pregnant women suffer from anemia.
Moving on with other local stories, Chief Epidemiologist Dr. Samitha Ginige says that just 25% of the country's eligible population have received the booster dose so far. This is a low figure according to Dr. Ginige and is a problem because the country is unable to gene sequence every PCR test in the island to gauge the actual number of Omicron infected people in the country. Hence, he adds that getting the booster shot without fail is the only way to ensure your own protection.
The Omicron variant has been identified in over 108 countries across the world, according to the World Health Organization. The variant has also been declared to be the dominant variant in at least 5 countries, with the United States and the United Kingdom among them. Health authorities in some countries, such as Israel and India, have said that it is just a matter of weeks until the Omicron variant becomes the dominant strain in their respective countries. Thus, gene sequencing is the only way to ascertain 100% if an individual is infected with the Omicron variant. The other way is the S-gene target failure identification in PCR tests, which can be used as a proxy test to see if a person has the variant. However, the S-gene target failure isn't 100% accurate. This makes the gene sequencing test the most reliable, but also a very costly test. Due to the cost factor, many countries, especially developing nations, are unable to carry out gene sequencing tests on the entire population. This leaves countries with the option of only subjecting a few samples for genetic tests. This includes Sri Lanka as well. So far, Sri Lanka has only confirmed the presence of 7 Omicron patients from samples obtained through the airport. Deputy Director General of Research and Education at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Hemantha Herath, said that this remains a problematic situation, as the true figure or situation in the country cannot be gauged. This could especially be a problem due to the high transmission rate of the variant. However, Dr. Herath noted that the variant's transmission would be a problem only if the general public allows it to spread. As such, the constant message has been for the public to adhere to the health and safety guidelines and get the first 2 doses and the third dose being offered at the moment. Currently, only 3,550,824 people have obtained the booster so far.
අපි තීරණයක් කරන් තිබුණා 20ට වැඩි සෑම කෙනෙකුටම බූස්ටර් එන්නත් මාත්‍රාවක් ලබා දෙන්න. අපි දකිනවා පැහැදිලිවම අර ජනතාවගේ තිබෙන උද්‍යෝගයේ යම් අඩුවක් තියෙනවා. මොකද අපි දන්න ඇතිතරම් රටේ ඉන්නත් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ දල වශයෙන් 125ක් තමයි ජාතික වශයෙන් බූස්ටර් එන්නත් මාත්‍රාව ලබා ගැනීමට සුදුසු කට්ටියකින් දැන්ට ලබාගෙන තියෙන්නේ. ඒතකොට ඒ කියන්නේ තව 75ක් ඒ කියන්නේ දල වශයෙන් මිලියන 10ක් විතර ලබා ගත යුතුව තියෙනවා. ඇත්තටම මේ එන්නතක් අරගත්තට පස්සේ අත රිදෙනවා නම් එතන යම් කිසි ගුණ අංගපත රිදීම සුළු වශයෙන් තියෙනවා නම් ඒක ඇත්තට මේක ධනාත්මක දෙයක්. ඒකින් කියන්නේ දුන්නේ එන්නත තමුගේ ශරීරය ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන. ඒ කියන්නේ ශරීරය තුල තමුන්ට අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රතිදේහ නිපදීමේ ක්‍රියාවලිය සිද්ධ වෙනවා කියන එක. ඉතින් ඒකින්ද ඒකට බය දිනයක් දෙකක් අත රිදෙන එක එතකොට අංගපත වේදනාව සුළු වුණ තත්ත්වයක් ඇති වෙන එක විශාල මේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් කරගෙන එන්නත් නොගත්තොත් සමහරලාට තමුන්ට ඒකේ වන්දිය විදිහට ICU එක ගත කරලා ජීවිතයත් මරණයත් අතර සටනක් කරලා සමහරලාට ඒකෙන් පෙරදිලා මරණය ළඟා කරගන්න සිද්ධ වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka received another batch of 1,147,775 doses early today as the country continues to strengthen its booster rollout. In other developments, under the health and safety guidelines, outdoor musical events have not been allowed thus far. However, yesterday permission was granted for such events to be held under specific guidelines. Accordingly, the Inspector General of Police has directed all police stations to issue sound permits for outdoor musical events. As such, outdoor musical events can take place until 10 p.m. from Monday to Thursday. On Friday and Saturday, outdoor musical events can go until 1 a.m., while such events have been allowed to go until 12:30 a.m. on Sunday.
The Station Masters Union decided to end their strike this evening following discussions with State Minister of Transport Dillu Mamunugama. Accordingly, the State Minister has promised to fulfill 10 of the 25 demands presented by the union. However, tickets were once more issued today at the Fort and Maradana train stations by the railway authorities using ticket checkers.
The Station Masters Union launched a strike on the 24th of December, urging the government to fulfill 25 demands, including allowances for delayed promotions and the calculation of overtime according to the same formula as engine drivers. The station masters who refrained from issuing tickets expanded their strike from midnight last night after discussions with the General Manager of Railways ended with no agreement. Accordingly, they have also withdrawn from the transportation of fuel, flour and cement. However, the transportation of fuel to the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake has continued as usual. The Department of Railways said that a daily loss of 4 million rupees has been incurred due to the non-issuance of tickets, and so far the department has lost 20 million rupees. However, the department said that necessary measures will be implemented in the future to recover the losses incurred. Today, the department took steps to issue tickets to passengers at the Fort and Maradana railways using ticket inspectors. In the meantime, the Station Masters Union met State Minister of Transport Dillu Mamunugama. Following the discussions, the Station Masters Union has decided to call off their strike after the minister gave them assurances that 10 out of the 25 demands that they have presented will be provided to them.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the Sri Lankan rupee continues to be at 202.99 against the US dollar. Taking a look at the stock market, the Colombo All Share Price Index ended in negative territory today as it closed 179 points lower at 11,907.70. Meanwhile, the S&P SL20 of more liquid stocks ended 2.94 points down, closing 4,214.49. Now with that, here's Dimantha Mathi with a brief report on today's market performance.
Today we saw a bit of a selling pressure in the market. Today is the second consecutive day the market has ended in the red, and a sizably significant decline was witnessed today with over 100-point decline during the day. So the market did come below the 12,000 mark today, closing in at 11,907 points with a 101-point decline. However, the S&P SL20 index just dipped by only about 3 points to close at 4,214 points. So overall, we saw a bit of a selling mentality during the day where we are seeing a significant selling pressure coming from the big cap counters that were also the retail favorites previously. So especially the transportation sector, diversified financial sector were the two main key sectors that led to the overall decline of the index, and with it we are seeing a slight slowdown in terms of activity levels as well.
And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.